Diregraph Ghoul on turn 1. If you see a Blood-Thrown Vampire, you know somebody means to beat down. Morgan Chang, on the other hand, with this essentially 4-color pod list. I think that there's another color in there. Nope, this is the 4-color, sorry, the 3-color one, not the 4-color one. So we see a turn 2, that's a Butcher Ghoul. Butcher Ghoul is an immediate mark in most people's minds for a birthing pod list.
Right, but there's no birthing pods.
No birthing pods. This is all for cards like Blood-Thrown Vampire.
And Blood Artist. It's like...
Yeah, and Blood Artist. We see the Llanowar Elf. Now, this isn't exactly the kind of awkward position that you don't want to have to be in. The turn 2 Llanowar Elf. But the thing about it is, with all of these colors, Morgan Chang, I think he just is going to be a little bit too much work in getting himself established.
Yeah, I really love Morgan's deck. I mean, it has a lot of card choices that are like pretty interesting compared to normal pod decks.
We see look at this.
Wow.
3 mana to kill that Llanowar Elf. Why? He just wants to get a little bit more time. He wants to make sure Morgan has a little bit less going on the table.
So some of the interesting cards that Morgan has in his deck, he has Tormentor Exarch. That card I haven't really seen outside like Limited.
I love it, but I mean, like you said, we were looking at these lists. I have never seen it in play and constructed. Morgan Chang passes, and then it looks like he's going to have an upkeep effect.
Oh,
Deceiver Exarch is going to tap down either that red land or... Yep, there it is. The red land gets tapped down, and Danny does not make mana with it.
Yes.
1/4 is a big number.
He doesn't really have any like great answers to Deceiver Exarch, actually.
He just attacks, deals his 1 damage, and I bet he's going to follow up here with another creature.
Oh, he looks
Unless
like,
he's creatureless. He is out of creatures. It's just land now. How unfortunate for Danny.
Some of the other interesting cards that Morgan has in his deck, he has Dead-Eye Navigator. That's a fairly new card from Avacyn Restored. It's got Soul Bond. Basically, when it Soul Bonds with something else, it can blink it.
And Morgan Chang gets to untap. Danny Goldstein. Wow. All land in hand. That's a little bit of a flood.
Yeah, no, especially like he doesn't have a ton of land in his deck. He only has 20 land. I mean, actually, no, he's 22 land. Sorry.
So if you look at what's in play, just imagine that's your opening hand. That would have been probably about close to correct, and he's only drawn land since then.
But he does have some good draws. He can draw his Falconwrath Aristocrat, which gets to fly over the Deceiver Exarch. He can like draw a messenger, basically to like help increase his power to put the pressure on.
And what is this? Bouncy Bouncy. Is that an Aether Adept?
Yeah, this is a draft special, really. Oh, he draws a Blood Artist. Blood Artist is often the key to a lot of these kind of like come from behind wins.
Blood Artist 0/1 Vampire. If you haven't been paying attention to Standard the last many months, you might not realize that this guy has become, or is it guy or gal, I don't know which, has become a real staple in the format. Butcher Ghoul does not come in to attack. Whenever a creature dies on anyone's side, including the Blood Artist, you get to drain 1 life from your opponent, which can really make math difficult, particularly with the Undying cards and a good sacrifice outlet. Now, Morgan Chang, I can't remember where he's from, but I swear I used to see him in the New York area. I can't remember, though.
Yeah, I think actually Morgan's now in the NorCal.
That might be it. I know I've seen him at larger events all over the place.
Yeah.
And Morgan comes on in. Okay, wow, New York is his hometown. Oh. What a out-of-nowhere guess of mine. If he could make it there, he could make it anywhere. We see a block from Danny here. This is going to make his Butcher Ghoul come back just a little bit bigger, and there's going to be a 1-point life drain on Morgan. And Morgan follows up, 5 mana.
Oh, Bonfire.
Wah, 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 wah. That's going to be 3 more life that Morgan Chang loses, but I don't know that he's too sad about that.
Yeah, that's it's pretty devastating because we both know that Danny does not have anything in hand and really doesn't have too many good draws right now. He really needs to draw an Aristocrat or perhaps a Geralf's Messenger, but that even that gets blocked by Deceiver
And
Exarch.
I think he just has all land right now. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think he's drawn anything else.
He drew a creature there, but I think it was another Blood Artist, and he didn't want to put it out while he didn't have another creature.
In for 3 more, Aether Adept and Deceiver Exarch. Coming on in, Morgan Chang is definitely sitting incredibly pretty here.
He also is sitting on 2 Phantasmal Images, so if he
how
really
devastating.
if he really kind of like needs to like if Danny draws a Geralf's Messenger, it's going to be bad for him.
Borderland Ranger. Right now, for my money, this is currently my favorite green creature right now.
Pretty much does everything you needed to do. Like a little card advantage, helps fix your mana. It's really kind of like, you know, becoming a quick green staple.
Back in the Dizzy with a Ravnica block constructed, I had a green-white beatdown deck that ran 4 of his cousin, the Civic Wayfinder. That might have been the best deck I've ever built, and I didn't even realize that it was such an important card until I cut it. And then, wow, I mean, Borderland Ranger, we saw Civic Wayfinder and Elves, and now Borderland Ranger all over the place these days.
A Diagraph Ghoul from Danny, so it's like pretty much not putting up any defense to...
Was that a quick check for the bonfire?
Yeah.
And then how much mana am I going to spend on it?
It looks like he's...
oh, boy.
It has not hit his hand.
Oh, now it's in his hand. Okay.
It's a good fake, though.
But yeah, like Charles Gindy had his Civic Wayfinders and Elves, and Borderland was in both Cedric Phillips and AJ Soccer's red-green beatdown deck in the Invitational this weekend. Now, if that's in your beatdown decks, that's a thing to think about.
No, absolutely. What it does, I think, it guarantees like you're hitting things like your 5th and 6th mana, which means that like if you have Thundermaw, Hellkite, or Titans, you're going to be able to hit those land drops, which is super important.
Now we attack here for a total of 5. The other thing, normally land thinning is we see a Phantasmal Image, and that's an Aether Adept bouncing it back up. Normally, like I was finding in a lot of my decks that I was running, that before I had Borderland Rangers, I would just get weird mana draws sometimes. And Borderland Ranger really helped that from happening. Even my monocolor green decks, Borderland Ranger made it so I could cheat a little bit on my mana, be a little bit loose on it, and then come around and still be good. See Gravecrawler adding to the table now.
I think there's a Deadeye Navigator in Morgan's hand.
Oh, that would be devastating.
Yeah, what it would allow him to do is like blink the Aether Adept for as many times as he had land, as he had two blue land. Here it goes. He's tapping 6, 2 of them being blue. I think we're seeing a Navigator. Aye.
Boom. Best friends forever. Who's he gonna? What's that do?
And the great thing about the ability, the Soulbond ability, is he gets to repair it every time. So if he gets a better creature on the table,
you know
he can
what?
Blink it out, repair.
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't feel bad at all for Danny reading that. It's a card that you just don't see very often. And look at Danny, he's like, yep, that's like any other 6-drop. It's gonna mean I'm in real trouble.
And the Gravecrawler cannot block. Danny just shrugs basically here. He's pretty much has no option.
Now, one of the things, both of these players, we're in the top 8 now of the event. Both of these players are at the beginning of the match and during the match, between games, have full access to each other's deck lists. This is so that someone that has, say, a smartphone, an iPad, or some friends that are on the internet don't get a massive advantage over the other players in the top 8. So these players know, as best as they can remember at least, the details of each other's deck lists.
So it looks like they've quickly left the judge question.
So basically, it looks like there was just a question happening about something one of the players needed to ask a judge on. I'm not sure what it is, but we're going to continue with that with the match in progress as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think the judge question was something to do with the fact that the Deadeye Navigator is paired with a image.
Right. It's not a targeted ability when it pairs. Being best friends doesn't mean you're pointing your finger at each other.
The good thing, obviously, that means is that he's able to basically create a new like target for his.
Wouldn't it be cool if there were suddenly 2 Deadeye Navigators in play? Oh, Doctor.
Just double checking here. Is he going to blink?
He declares a block.
He doesn't. Yeah, he shouldn't need to blink. I think.
And dead Gravecrawler. And back comes the Gravecrawler. And a go. And Morgan Chang, not wanting to lose his Deadeye Navigator, does not activate with that last 2 mana, preferring instead to untap so he could activate and then in response activate if need be.
Yeah, I think Danny's only kind of out really is to draw Falcon Wrath as Aristocrat. I think he has a Blood Artist in hand. What that will allow him to do, maybe he doesn't have a Blood Artist because he probably should have cast it.
Image. There are 4 Phantasmal images.
I think Danny's had enough here.
If you follow Jamie Wakefield on the onlines, you know that he is not happy with Phantasmal Image. Jamie Wakefield, king of the fatties, loves his fatties, and Phantasmal Image is just a cheater's way to get your own fatty. You didn't even do the work.
Okay, so
the Moocher class or something, I don't know. So, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with the one, the only, the Ben Sec.
Thank you very much.
This is the Star City Games Open Series. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, between games 1 and 2 of this top 8, we give away prizes for all of you at home, so you too can be a winner. Now, the way this works is pretty simple. We have our trivia question that we've prepared for you, and you at home, if you tweet to us with the hashtag SCG Premium, you can see it right there, SCG Premium. With the correct answer, one lucky person who has answered this question correctly and uses that hashtag will get, for the quarterfinals, 3 free months of Star City Games Premium, and we'll repeat this trivia contest tomorrow morning during the semis and then in the finals, but with greater and greater prizes each time. So this trivia question, it's very easy if you've been watching the Invitational all weekend. Who was the #1 seed at the end of day 1? And who was the #1 seed at the end of day 2 of the Invitational? Who was the #1 seed at the end of day 1? And who was the #1 seed at the end of day 2? I'm going to let you know just a little hint. This is almost a super easy trick question.
Yes.
So hashtag SCG Premium, get your answers, and we will be waiting to make sure that one lucky person gets 3 free months of Star City Games Premium.
All you had to do was watch. It's really, really easy answer.
Or if you're a good Star City Games print coverage reader, you can go check. Now, I'm not going to tell you where you can read that print coverage. I mean, StarCityGames.com is not going to tell you exactly how to find any of this stuff. It's up to you. Now, we're going to go back to our match in progress. These players are sideboarding currently. Morgan Chang, I still think that this matchup is one that favors Danny Goldstein. But Danny, he had 3 spells in his opening hand and then spent 3 turns drawing land to have 7 land drawn those first turns.
One of the awesome cards that Danny actually has in the sideboard is Killing Wave. Killing Wave is like particularly awesome in the Zombies deck for a few reasons. So what the card does is black X. Each player sacrifices each creature unless they pay life equal to the X get paid.
Essentially what happens is every creature in play, you want to keep it, pay X life for that creature, for every creature.
Yep. So one of the things, like Morgan is going to have a lot of creatures in play. He has a lot of mana creatures. So these creatures are going to have to get paid for, or they're going to go to the graveyard. The little trick is, if Danny has a Blood Artist in play, he basically cashes in every time that the creature goes to the graveyard. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's a really great combo. I'm not sure if this is the case, but I do know that one of the Star City Games writers is a really big trailblazer when it came to this style of deck. And so if you've been reading Jesse Smith, that's a Smitty on Twitter and on Magic Online with some 7s instead of T's. He was somebody that was definitely one of the early people that was popularizing the Blood Artist Killing Wave combo.
And Smitty actually made the Community Cup. It's actually he's going to represent the players in the Community Cup.
Congratulations! I was not aware of that. Good job for you, Jesse Smith. I think that's a real honor. So that is really, really cool.
Absolutely. So the cards that I think is likely to come in, 2 Ratchet Bomb I think is going to come in, basically forcing, maybe killing a lot of 1-drops or 2-drops in Morgan's deck. Probably, I'm trying to see what else. The Killing Wave for sure.
Well, look at that muscle pose there from Danny Goldstein.
Phyrexian Metamorph, absolutely.
Phyrexian Metamorph is awesome against all of these totally crazy creatures that Morgan Chang has.
Yeah, a lot of them have come into the battlefield triggers. A lot of them are like particularly big. You know, I think it's a really, really good card against the pod decks.
Did you say that you liked Smelt?
I didn't. I don't think I like Smelt. I think it really only deals with the birthing pod. They usually will have used it once. I don't think I would have brought
Comes to the party too late?
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually help foster a beatdown?
No, I'm against that. The cards that Morgan can probably bring in, I think Garruk Relentless might be a good match.
I actually think that Garruk, however you say it, I think I call it Garruk. There are so many creatures that you can put it into play, it can murder a creature, and then still be around, and once that's happened, that is awesome. There aren't direct damage spells besides Brimstone Volley, and if you're spending 5 damage to kill the Garruk that's at 1, I guess I do say Garruk, then that's a win for you if you're Morgan Chang.
I actually say Garruk too, actually. I don't know why I said Garruk that time. But one of the actually other cool things is Garruk Relentless is able to kill Blood Artist and still remain on his front.
That's true. That's true. I mean, they fight each other of a sort.
Yes.
Garruk deals 3.
Blood Artist, he's a lover, not a fighter.
Now, one of the super interesting cards in Morgan Chang's sideboard is 2 Memories Journey. And you and I were talking about this before the match began, of what these possibly were for. And I think with all of the 1-ofs, this Birthing Pod deck just wants to kind of pretend that it has more copies of certain cards in right matchups. I mean, in the right matchup, Acidic Slime can be great. But if you sacrifice it, it's gone for good. On the other hand, if you just Memories Journey it back...
Yeah. I have not really seen Memories Journey used that way in Constructed. I mean, it seems like it would be a reasonable way of doing that. I really haven't seen the matchup that he would want it in, but I can imagine a few different cool uses. The
long grindy matchups I can see it in. I know that when I was doing some testing a while back, Nassif was really into Pod, and there would be these games where you would just bleed him out of creatures that mattered, and Memories Journey might have helped in that long game.
Okay, so Danny's got to start very quickly with a Diagraph Ghoul.
Let's see if he can draw some more non-lands.
Okay, so attacks with the Diagraph Ghoul. He's playing another 1-drop, this time a Gravecrawler. Gravecrawler is definitely one of my favorite kind of zombies. It's just so many cool things happen with that card.
It almost makes me feel bad it does so many cool things. And we see a Strangleroot Geist is going to play defense here. A very good defender.
Absolutely. So I think he's just going to attack with the Gravecrawler, because he obviously can get back that card at will. Now, I see that he's got a Geralf's Messenger in his hand, so that's almost definitely going to come in next turn.
Now, if you're Morgan Chang, I mean, you're having to ask yourself, do you want to throw away one of the lives of your Geist to prevent 2 damage? Well, maybe not. I'm going to see a Messenger now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to name Zombie, because it's the only way Messenger can come out this turn.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan with Ben Sek. This is the quarterfinal match of the Star City Games Open Series. The Invitational Day 2 is in the books, and we'll be seeing those players play tomorrow, as well as the winner of this match in the Open Top 4. Geralf's Messenger from Danny Goldstein.
So one of the things, Morgan does not have another land in hand. He has a lot of red cards. I think he just drew a forest, but he still has a lot of red cards in hand, but no mountain.
Any borderland ranges?
I think there's one.
Oh, I see a machete. Yeah. I see a machete sticking out.
that Borderland Ranger does like wielding his machete, so there it is.
Hey guys, this way. If you want to get to the mountains, I know where to go. If you read the text on Borderland Ranger, the Borderland Ranger on the flavor text tells you that he knows a secret way.
Well, Morgan definitely needed to know the way to the mountains because he had a handful of red cards. Now I think Morgan's going to have to face like quite the onslaught this turn. In addition to the creatures in play, Danny has a Phyrexian Metamorph in his hand, which usually in these kind of games like copies Geralt's Messenger. It's possible that maybe he'll go for Strangleroot Geist.
And I don't know that there are any miracles in Danny's deck, but he was acting like there might be.
And
what's the black miracle?
there are no black miracles.
Aw, that's sad.
It's not a miracle if it's
In comes the team. That's a pretty formidable army. Strangleroot Geist is the copied card here for...
No, it's a Geralt Messenger.
Oh, is it? I thought it was a Strangleroot Geist, because
Yeah.
when it came into play... my bad. Sorry about that.
The one tough thing now is that the bonfires are not very good in the case of this situation, because he has Geralt Messengers, he has Grave Crawlers, he has like plenty of ways to like get out of this problem. Morgan takes 2 and another 2 from the returning messenger. He brought you 2 more life.
Now Danny says he's done, and back to Morgan at the end of the turn here.
Morgan has a Zealous Conscripts, a Bonfire of the Damned. I think he might even have some other expensive red spells. If he has a Tormentor Exarch, that's actually going to help him a little bit.
Land.
This looks like it could be. Oh no, it could be a Huntmaster. Yeah,
I think we're going to see Huntmaster gain 2 life and gum up the board. How devastating that just was.
No, it's not a Huntmaster.
Oh, Garrick.
It's Garrick.
Who are you fighting, Garrick?
Yeah,
and he says, let's just trade here with the messenger. That is sufficient.
It's a 4 mana lightning bolt. Oh wow, there's a Falconwrath Aristocrat in Danny's hand. All he needs is a red land. He does not. He actually has a few red cards in his hand, but no way of casting them. He pretty much wins on the spot if he draws a red land, because he has 2 volleys, an Aristocrat, something else that's red. I'm not sure exactly.
Morgan Chang's life is hanging by a thread here. This is much closer to how I imagined Game 1 going. Just an aggressive start from Danny's deck, which is a more aggressive than normal zombie list. And Morgan Chang having a stumble here and there because of the sheer nature of playing a 3-color deck and all of the fun goodies that he has in here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Morgan's still in a lot of trouble here because he can't really... If he blocks the messenger, he loses his guy and takes another 2. If he blocks the Gravecrawler, it just comes back. There's also yet another Phyrexian Metamorph. I think he's thinking of like copying the Strangleroot guy so we can like basically guarantee more. Oh wow!
Act of aggression.
Act of aggression. That will be all of the damages he needs.
Wow. Jump, jive, and wail.
Yep. Okay.
Oh boy, okay, a quick game there. You saw Danny Goldstein. He has 1 act of aggression in his main deck, and he also has another act of aggression in his sideboard. I'm not sure if he boarded the second one in, but he definitely has at least 1 in there.
I think I would bring it in. It's really good against Thragtusk, the Titans, anything big. If he still has a Thunderbolt Hellkite, it's devastating against that card.
One of the problems with 2 active aggressions is that 4 life. That is not something to sneeze at. If you don't have the red mana, Let's say you draw 2 active aggressions. You're talking about 8 damage to yourself. That could be problematic in a deck that absolutely can put up races with cards like Huntmaster, as well as all of the random gumming up that it can do on the board.
So we have some information. Trevor Pertrilli was playing Ryan Forsberg, and Trevor's up 1 game.
If you're just joining us, this is the final game here for this quarterfinal match in the Star City Game Open Series. This is the last standard. Sorry, this is the first of the round of the top 8, and we'll be giving the next rounds of the top 8 tomorrow. Semifinals begin bright and early, so make sure that you show up.
And another update: Gabriel Neves basically is playing David Bauer, and David Bauer, who's 8th seed, actually pulled off the first game, so broke serve.
Okay, so that's David Bauer up in the first of that match. Glenn Jones bringing us that helpful information. Glenn Jones, who? Glenn Jones.
Okay.
Danny Goldstein on the left. He is going to be on the draw. Morgan Chang on the right with Rug Pod. He is going to be on the play.
I think Morgan's looking at his sideboard, not his hand. Just making sure that there isn't any kind of like last minute changes he wants to make. Okay. Morgan Chang really being kind of a victim of a little bit of a clunky hand. A lot of red spells. Wasn't able to get a red mana until like fourth turn. Just a little bit on the back foot.
He only has 7 red land in his deck and only 1 mountain. So if he doesn't draw one of his funky dual lands, a card like, say, Thundermaw Hellkite, which I presume he has sideboarded out, a card like Thundermaw Hellkite is just very difficult to cast. We have a result in the 3 versus 6 match. Josh Robinson defeats Max Jacob. That is Delver over Zombies 2-1. So that's, I believe, our first match in full. Is that correct?
That is. That's
okay.
right.
That means we're still waiting to see the matchup of Delver versus Delver, see who wins there, as well as Delver versus the 4-color pod. I believe the Ink Shredder colors, such to say, no black.
I wonder if they're going to have the Nephilim in the...
Oh, I would love to. I don't know the mythology of the Nephilim with regards to Magic. I mean, how they fit into the multiverse. Are they from what part of Dominaria? You know, if I were to ask someone like an expert on these things, maybe if you're out there in the Twitter sphere, at SCG Live, where are the Nephilim with relation to Ravnica?
So actually,
are they in the same plane?
Nephilim are actually like a real thing.
Oh yeah, within mythology on Earth,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's sorry.
No, it's the case with a lot of Magic. If you're ever studying for certain kinds of tests, whether it's GRE, an SAT, you're going to find that a lot of things like your vocabulary are going to be greatly improved by things like, oh, fecundity. I played that Magic card. I bet you it's this definition.
Magic teaches a lot of things.
Math.
Spelling.
I guess a couple things else besides that. I can't figure out what.
Yeah, vocab. It's like tremendous. So Danny keeps his hand. Morgan goes back for 6.
You know, we were talking before how about Magic teaches you things for your life, and your life can be used for things in Magic. Yeah, our director says Magic can teach you problem-solving skills. I completely agree with that. If you watch the very first, we'll call it the precursor to the Walk the Plains videos that Nathan Holt put out, you know, that whole video is a labor of love. But when you watch the second video, which was the Worlds video that duo put out, it's kind of awesome when they interview Aaron Forsyth. And Aaron Forsyth, you know, or I should say, pardon me, Mark Rosewater. And Mark Rosewater says that games teach you how to think. They teach you problem solving and so many other things that are mental skills. And Magic, Aaron Forsyth says, is the best game, not close.
I have to agree. Magic's the best game. It's always changing. It's always interesting. You can go back. You can stop playing for a while. You can come back. It always has something to learn. It's always different. It's great.
Once you get infected by Magic, to be fair, I think that even if you quit, all it takes is the slightest nudge, and you're back in.
Well, the rule is amongst my friends is that no one ever quits. People take hiatuses, but you never quit.
But your friends, just like my friends, and the overlap they're in, we all got the bug.
we
but
did.
Like, let's pretend you're a casual player. You don't play very much. You might not have the bug until you start getting a gaming group together, and then you get the bug. You know.
Absolutely. Okay, I think Morgan's going to keep this. He has a couple land. He has a couple images. Looks like he's on the play. Morgan gets to go first. Plays a Sulphur Falls.
And we've got a turn 1. Is there going to be a 1-drop from Danny? There is indeed Gravecrawler.
Brains.
I always preferred the non-speaking zombies.
They only don't speak if they don't have jaws or voice boxes, I guess.
The offshoot to the Night of the Living Dead series, they were the speaking zombies, but those weren't Romero's zombies. Forest from Morgan Chang, and no play. Gravecrawler comes in.
And another Gravecrawler drawn by Danny. He's going to have a little bit of staying power here. He also has a volley. Oh!
He goes for the Blood Artist.
Blood Artist is...
It's interesting. I'm not sure if what that accomplishes as much.
Yeah, I definitely don't see why you wouldn't play another Gravecrawler. Oh, wow. Arc Trail just killing one of each.
Arc Trail. If you heard that big clumping noise, that was me dropping my pen onto the table. Sorry about that. That does drain 2 life from Morgan Chang, but it clears the board as well, and Danny Goldstein's going to have to rebuild. Yep. And he does with the Gravecrawler from hand, then resurrecting the Gravecrawler from the yard.
Yep. So...
I mean, I think what Danny was doing there was he was going for mana efficiency, but I don't know that mana efficiency is always king, despite what some might try to tell you. 4 mana.
Is it a Huntmaster or is it a...
I think it's going to be a Garruk. Oh, no, Huntmaster. I thought it was going to be a Garruk making a wolf, but no, it's a Huntmaster making a wolf.
So there is a go for the throat in Danny's hand, so he has an answer ready for it. But it will mean that the wolf will get the block.
Yep. Well, he can still replace that the Gravecrawler if it blocks. I mean, and whether it was a Garruk or whether it was a Huntmaster, they're both cursed people.
I think what he may do here is he may attack with both. There's going to be a block with the wolf. He's going to Tragic Slip out of his hand once. He's going to play a Phyrexian Metamorph, copying the Huntmaster, and then Tragic Slip the remaining Huntmaster.
Well, that would be really frustrating for Morgan Chang. Let's see what happens here. He's still thinking about his choices, and it looks like he just takes it.
Yeah.
He takes it, and then we see a Metamorph here, copying the Huntmaster anyway. He gets his own wolf. Now the copy costs him 2 life, but he gains it right back. He's got 8 power on the board. Morgan Chang now at a lowly 14. Okay. And a fist pump from Danny when he is able to be using a real wolf token.
So the cards in his hand, he has a Go for the Throat, a Tragic Slip, and a Brimstone Volley. This time he has the red for the Brimstone Volley. Morgan's in a little bit of trouble here. I think he's just got a little bit of a slow hand. I think he does have an image in his hand, so he can copy the Huntmaster.
I mean, I like that quite a bit, largely because actually you might copy the Metamorph of the Huntmaster so that you get the ability to not have a throat.
Oh. That is seeing the game within the game there.
You know, artifacts are crazy. They don't have throats.
Well, Kind of makes sense. Don't need to breathe.
I really, really enjoy when there are little flavorable things like that. Form of the Dragon being, I think, the ultimate example of that.
I know, I really like Form of the Dragon.
Yeah. And here we have, like, with that card, like, Go for the Throat, that concept that artifact creatures cannot be killed by vampires that way. Morgan Chang really in the tank here.
Yeah, so I think he has 2 images and then something else. I do not know what that something else happens to be.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Ben Seck. We're watching Morgan Chang trying to decide what to do at the end of his own turn. He chooses to pass. He is going to flip the Huntmaster, but instead of letting that happen during his own turn, Danny goes for the throat on that Huntmaster before the guy can flip on over. It was a goodly plan, Mr. Morgan Chang.
Yeah, and
did not work out as you wished.
But the Metamorph can't flip. It only has one side.
It wants so badly to be a real boy.
I think it's going to be very tempting for Danny to not cast the slip here on the wolf and then just attack through.
And he goes for the slip. This makes the board completely clear.
So Morgan's going to go down to 6 here, which is like incredibly low.
What does Danny have left in his hand?
He has another Gravecrawler.
Oh, look at that! And he's got a Brimstone Volley.
Yeah, I think so. Morgan's down to 6 life. He's clearly going to copy. He couldn't copy it last time because he wanted to flip his guy.
Is he going to see a miracle? Is it a miracle?
Even if it's a miracle, I think he's just in really deep trouble because of the Gravecrawlers.
But Danny emptied his hand. A bonfire would have been devastating because Danny has no creatures left in his hand.
Mm-hmm. But he could recreate with any zombie.
Well, he has to get one first. I actually don't like that last Gravecrawler there. It took away his ability to regrow the others.
Sure.
And to be fair, though, this does mean that he has more creatures on the table to try to fight through a Huntmaster that hits play.
Okay, so...
And we do know there's one Phantasmal image in Morgan Chang's hand, which can copy a Metamorph, which is currently a Huntmaster.
Danny's basically crossing his fingers, hoping there's absolutely nothing.
Morgan's like, oh man, you know.
I think Morgan's almost kind of resigned himself to, like... He's in deep trouble just with as many creatures as he has, without any sweepers in hand. If he had a bonfire in his hand, he would still be able to sweep the board here. Now,
to quote Patrick Chapin, never give up. Never give up, Morgan. Let's see what he does. Now, that's not to say that there aren't times you shouldn't concede. There are very many reasonable times to concede. And we see a image
almost
copying
definitely
Metamorph, which is a Huntmaster, which gets him 2 life and a wolf.
It goes to 8. He has a Borderland Ranger or another. Okay, so he's going...
2 images, which gets him 2 more life and another wolf. Okay, Morgan did a really good play there, a series of plays there. He does still have to contend with the Brimstone Volley that is hanging out in Danny Goldstein's hand.
So there's 4 creatures. I wonder if he attacks here. Let's see what the card is.
One card in hand, huh? And Danny draws, looks for a miracle that he doesn't have.
Is that a tragic slip?
He's doing a little bit of math.
No, Geralt's Messenger. That is huge. What he can do is basically attack all out. Doesn't matter. He can play the Geralt's Messenger, rebuy 1 Gravecrawler for the next turn, and still basically be able to Brimstone Volley the next turn.
Sideways. Now Morgan is going to take at least 2 damage, but if he doesn't block something, he'll take death. Now, obviously, Morgan wants to live, so let's see what he does. If I'm Morgan, I'm happy to throw away those Huntmasters immediately.
Yeah, there's still a possibility. I guess they know that each other's deck lists, but there's a possibility they might have Flames of the Firebrand, with a card from M13 that basically targets 3 things. A functional reprint of Arc Lightning. all the way from Urza Saga.
You know that there's a song that Patrick Chapin, me, and Nath Heiss made up about Arc Lightning. If you want, I can send that to you sometime. It's pretty cool.
So a lone wolf survives.
And the Gravecrawler comes down, taking 2 more life off of Morgan Chang, and allowing, sorry, a Giralf's Messenger allowing a Gravecrawler to be reborn.
Yeah, this is looking really bad. There's only, even if he has a bonfire, he's going to have to deal with the messenger.
I think the only card that he can draw here to be in this game is Thragtusk.
Thragtusk, yeah.
And oh, look at this. He's slow rolling himself.
I think, did he look?
I don't think he looked. I mean, I think he knows that a bonfire won't do it.
No, I think he had a quick peek.
Oh, did he have a quick peek?
Yeah. A little sad Christian Calcano is standing behind Morgan after he lost his winning in.
Now, the match we already know, Josh Robinson was defeated Max Jacob. That was Delver versus Zombies. So we're going to have at least one Delver player tomorrow in our top 4.
We'll have at least 2 because there's a Delver on Delver matchup.
That's a good point. Gabriel Nieves Ortiz versus David Bauer. Who amongst the Delver mirror will win? We will have to find out.
I actually like presuming Danny's going through, because that's my guess at looking at the current board state. I really like Danny's kind of how he's placed against the Delver matches.
And Morgan still tanking. I believe he's going to have to act at some point. What do we got? 3 mana. What's 3 mana? Borderland Ranger Aether Adept. Aether Adept can bounce a wolf, if that is an Aether Adept.
Well, he has a Borderland Ranger. We knew that. So we just the funny thing is he's tapped a lot of his dual lands. So I'm trying to work out exactly if there's a good reason why.
Trevor Petrelli with the 4-color pod defeats Delver in the hands of Ryan Forberg.
Okay, so it looks like we're definitely getting 2 Delvers and 2 non-Delver decks. So in the late days of
Birthing Pod changes for 2 life his Borderland Ranger into, I believe that's going to be a Huntmaster.
Yeah.
He's going to go down to 4 and then up to 6. But with that in mind, that means, I'm sorry to say, that Morgan Chang is dead to the Brimstone Volley. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so Danny Goldstein advanced to the semifinals.
Wow.
So we're going to have 2 pod decks, Black Red Zombies, a pod deck, and 2 Delver decks in the semifinals. We don't know which Delver deck of Gabriel Nieves is going to, or David Bauer is going to make it.
Now, besides, however, these those players, we have yet one more winner out there in the Twitter sphere. Now, I asked earlier, which player, for our trivia question, for Star City Games' free 3 months of premium, what player was number 1 at the end of day 1 in the Invitational, and what player was number 1 at the end of day 2 in the Invitational? What's the answer?
Well, it's a little bit of a trick question. They're actually the same player. That player is Anthony Eason.
And what about day 2?
Anthony Eason.
Oh, whoa! So, if you correctly answered Anthony Eason, you were among many people. And Joe Comparelli, at Joe Comparelli, you are the winner of 3 free months of Star City Games Premium.
Congrats,
Make
Joe.
sure that you follow at SCG Live so we can get that to you. So, I hope that none of you minded the trickiness of that.
Tomorrow I'm going to ask the question, and it'll be even trickier than Adrian's one.
Oh, we don't want to be too tricky now, you know? Okay, so yeah, we have seen so far that basically a Delver, a Zombies list, a 4-color pod list, and another Delver list are going to be our top 4 tomorrow. And I'm not sure. We only have one match still ongoing, and that is the Delver Mirror match between Gabriel Nieves Ortiz and David Bauer.
Yep. And
So-
David Bauer is up 1 game.
That's correct. Right now, Glenn Jones has let us know that we're waiting to find out if we are going to have a third game from them or not. That is the only match still currently ongoing. Now, at the beginning of this, I was kind of curious what predictions that you had had. I know I had my own predictions. I thought Delver was going to beat Delver. That worked out. I thought Zombies was going to beat the Rug Pod. That worked out. I thought Zombies was going to beat Delver. And Delver beat Zombies in this case. That's Josh Robinson beating Max Jacob.
Yeah, one of the things, Josh Robinson, I believe, started off with a game loss. So.
Oh, wow. So he started off with a game loss and then still 2-0'd his opponent?
Actually, sorry.
Actually, I think you're correct. Yeah,
Yep.
we're going to confirm that that's correct, but it sounds like Josh Robinson was issued a game loss, I believe, for a deck misregistration error. And this isn't the first time that we had this happen this weekend. We had another error that we caught on camera, and thankfully for that particular player, it was a game that he was already losing when it was found out. And the head judge also was nice and was like,
We know what you meant.
We know what you meant, so we'll fix it.
The funny thing is he accidentally wrote engineered plague instead of engineered explosives.
Yeah, and you and I were like, wow, that is bold. Main deck engineered plagues and legacy. Is it that kind of format right now?
But actually he was playing against goblins at the time, so it would have been really, really
It would
good.
have been pretty good, but no, he had actually played engineered explosives, and yeah, the other one we have is, it was Josh. Josh did have the game loss, so he started down 1 whole game and then came back 2-0 in a matchup that a lot of people seem to think has been pushing towards Zombies lately.
Yeah, absolutely. And 4-color pod was victorious over Delver.
Yep.
So I really like the 4-color pods deck versus Delver. It has a lot of different options. It has Bonfire of the Damned. I think having those kind of options, Thrag Tusk,
Yep.
really gives you like an edge against some of the different Delver decks.
Now, one of the sad stories of this open event is Reed Duke battling really hard and making it to 9th place.
Yes.
And there were a lot of people, over 500 players in the Open series. And it was actually, I'm going to be willing to bet, probably one of the hardest Opens that there has been, because we had 200 players from the Invitational who did not make day 2. And you know what? There's a whole weekend of Magic to be had. How many of those players were over there in the Open?
I'm sure a lot of them, and
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them are going to be there tomorrow, actually, at the Legacy Open or one of the Draft Opens.
Absolutely. Now, we've got, as I believe, 3 draft opens tomorrow, and what that means is that we are giving a lot of drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. And each draft open gives away $1,700. I mean, that's like, it's so much. All you have to do is win 2 drafts in a row to win a draft open.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing that's really awesome about this weekend, right? So let's say that you are kind of one of those people, you'd love to play Legacy, but you just don't feel like you have the ability to get in on it. Well, you can come to one of these invitational weekends, and what you can do is you can make sure, you know what, Sunday, I'm playing on Sunday, I don't even have to worry about it. I'll just show everyone how good of a drafter I am. You know what I mean? Like, some people have done called shots where they just come to these things and just win them.
I mean, if I didn't actually have to be here, I would be out there. I mean, maybe I might come down with something and like get into a draft open.
If tomorrow you don't see Ben Sek, you can know for sure that Ben Sek is he just called in sick. He wanted to draft.
I might put on like, a fake beard and a mustache or something like that.
Now, there is still time to get down here for tomorrow, people from far away. John Becker, I'm calling you out. Get on that red eye, get down here and show us all how to do it.
Drafting is like still my the most fun you can have playing Magic. I think the game changes all the time. There's so many different decisions. The games are very interesting. Like, it's almost kind of like I call it raw Magic, where there's a lot of combat. There's a lot of bluffing. It's really kind of like it rewards the skill of the better player. And
right.
I mean, I know that Constructed is definitely a skillful game. We've seen some great skill games this weekend, but